And then even for those who are watching online, still expecting some type of participation, and I'll imagine. But how many of you guys, by a show of hands, have been to a presentation of mine before? Okay, so don't ruin it for everybody else. All right, guys, for those of you, this is the first time that you've heard me present. My name is Steve. I'm one of the trainers down at Inward Fitness, and I will be presenting on bulletproofing your neck, which is not really actually bulletproofing your neck. I will say and start off with, if you look at the little GIF that's down here, if this has ever happened to you, stop seeing your chiropractor. Okay, let's go ahead and get into it. Brief introduction for those of you, this is the first time that you have met me. I'm a movement specialist. I started out as a head personal trainer in Houston, and this is a picture of the team of the physical therapy clinic that I was part of, and where I've just learned a lot of biomechanics, a lot of physical therapy hints, tips, and tricks that I'll be sharing with us this afternoon. And just on a side note is that I'm a massive Liverpool club supporter. Any Liverpool fans in here by any chance? No? Oh. And again, I stand alone as an island. Okay. And then, so this is Huff Before You Stuff back in 2023 that we host every Thanksgiving down at Inward Fitness. And I am a dog dad to my little baby furry girl, Skya, who loves my shoes. So that's that. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the problem as we talk about bulletproofing the neck. Really, ideally, I want us to pay attention to just the highlighted portions. In 2020, neck pain affected 203 million people just because we were stuck at home in COVID. And so we were stuck on our couches, we were on our phones, we were on computers and our devices, and so we just ended up with tech neck for the most part. Now, what I would really be interested in to know how that correlated also with lower back and shoulder pain, but this article did not reveal that. And globally, females had a higher age standard prevalence rate, so anywhere between 45 years old to 74 years old, for both male and female, had higher rate of neck pain. And this is fascinating to me, is that by the year 2050, is an estimated global number for neck pain of cases projected to go up to 269 million. From 2020 to 2050. So that is a lot of people with neck pain, but I believe that's just lifestyle that is indicated for that article. Okay, so behold the future, Mindy. This was taken from one of the Instagram deals that I follow, and so they are predicting that this is what's going to happen in about 100 years' time. I thought it was going to be able to, you could read all this, but you can't at all. So let me go through it. Hunched back, arched back, and neck. We're eventually going to develop a second eyelid. We're going to have something called the text claw to hold on to our phones. We'll have a thicker skull and smaller brain. We're going to have a 90-degree elbow, and then what we're going to be talking about a lot today, we're going to be stuck with tech neck. No offense to anybody named Mindy. Funny enough, the person who actually originally showed me this is my client, whose name is Mindy, and that was just really hard for us to go through. Anyway, so here's also some of the things that contributes to the problem are bad movement patterns. So I will say that a lot of the things that I'm going to be presenting you today, once you see, you cannot unsee. My boss at the clinic, Jonathan, one day we were walking through a grocery store in HEB. Anybody familiar with HEB in Texas? Oh, thank God, some people know. Oh, blessings. So we're walking through HEB. We're going to pick up some beer for our company party that we're about to have. And he goes through, we're walking down the aisles. He just pointing to different people, different customers. He's like, hip problem, neck problem, back problem, shoulder problem. Like, what are you doing? And he said, like, once you see all these people, like, I can tell what's happening with some of these people who are walking down the aisles. And so now I have developed that. So when you walked in, did I see certain things? I will not say no, but I will not say yes either. So be warned that I have seen things. Now, a lot of these neck problems have, and I see a lot of this probably with, especially in this upper corner here, is that I see that a lot as an asymmetrical shift in the neck. a lot of that time is that if your monitors or your screens or your phones or whatever, if that is placed off to the side, so if you're sitting directly at your desk, but your monitor is actually here and you do this all day, every day, 8 hours a day or on the opposite side, this is eventually how your neck and your body will adapt to that movement pattern. Your head will protrude and then your neck will shift, and so the muscles will lengthen and shorten on opposite sides. So you have to be careful about where your monitor is placed. Other movement patterns, so for those of you who come down and work out at the gym, I have seen this. I haven't said anything, but I have seen this. So if you watch anywhere from a sit-up movement, I call the turtleneck. So you lead the movement with your neck heading forward. Or if you go into a push-up or a plank and then you just let your head drop, or any pulling or pushing movements up overhead is that your head will protrude as you go forward. And the same thing as you lift your arms, you have to make way or make space, or your shoulder blades do, in order for your neck to have space to continually move. Some of the other issues that we're confronted with is what's called the upper cross syndrome. So if you were to look at me at a profile, which I'm not going to do because this guy already exists, but if you look at this guy at a profile, you see that everything is neutral except once you get to the thoracic spine area, which is like right here above the shoulder blade and just below the shoulder blade. That's called a kyphotic curve. Okay, and so what ends up happening is that your thoracic spine will round, right, and then your head will protrude, but everything else might remain straight while everything rounds forward in front of you. Okay, and so some of you, even right now, this area in your neck, you either slept wrong, or again, your monitor, or you had a bad meeting, I don't know. Something happened, but that is causing the pain in your neck right here, okay? And then I'm going to help you treat that today. How many of you, that looks familiar to you? You're like, oh, how did they get an x-ray of me? That's so scary, right? So a lot of times that's what ends up happening, is that our monitor may be too low, or maybe we're looking at our phone. If any of you read books still, if that's a thing, you're reading books and then you're just allowing everything to fall forward. What I did forget to put is every time that the skull comes off of our rib cage, for every inch that it moves forward is like an exponential amount of weight that gravity also pulls down on our neck. So that's why we have to make sure that proper alignment, so when gravity cuts through us, our spine, and then eventually our hips and legs can actually take that load. Now, I'm showing two separate, this is the back side of the skeleton, and then pretty soon I'm going to show the front side of the skeleton. The reason why I'm showing this one is the asymmetrical shift in your hips. Having a hip issue can actually translate all the way up into the neck, because if that hip, as you can see, the spine is connected right to the sacrum at the base of the, or not the base, but the top of the hip, that will push your spine out of alignment, and so then your neck is going to have to compensate at the end of the chain in order to make up for the movement that happened down here in our hips. So let's briefly go through this. I'm going to crank through this pretty quick because there is a lot actually entailed with the neck, and we just don't know about it. I'm going to start with the front side here just to show how sensitive everything at the top of our bodies actually is. Proper footwear is going to be very important, because right here, just if your foot pronates, meaning if it collapses in, that's going to cause one of your bones here in the shin to cause your knee then to do something weird for your femur to react, which is in this case is causing the hip to drop because this has dropped here. Then it causes a hip drop, which means, just as we talked about before, your spine now has to adjust. So if that adjusts, that means your rib cage has to move, which is thus attached to your neck and your shoulders, and that will give you all kinds of issues here. So it can affect, just because your footwear is not doing it, or your arch might have collapsed, but I can tell you how to build that back up. Anyway, so let's go through the actual neck. So that's the vertebrae. I'm not going to worry about C1 through C7, but I just want you to see that is all the neck is considered to be, okay? Now, let's go through, this is what's really important. So if any of you have ever had issues where you've got tingling in your fingers or on, anybody ever had that? You're kind of getting that? So a lot of that may actually stem coming from the brachial plexus, which is the nerve which nerve endings that start from the spinal cord that then break out, okay? And then they branch through here, through the first rib and your clavicle. It goes right underneath and comes through here. So it's called a double crush if it ends up crushing up here and then crushing down here, and you end up with sometimes tingling down here. A lot of that times that can be because your first rib is elevated, which is right up here by the neck, okay? And then it gets crushed right up here in the clavicle, and then your spine is now having to adjust, and you're just pulling on your nerve every time that happens. Okay, so that's a nerve ending. Oops. So let's go through this. All attached to the neck, or it affects the neck in some way. Serratus anterior, which is a rib-like muscle. Then you have the rhomboids. The ones that I'm probably going to highlight here in this case. Lower trap. So a lot of you guys know that you have an upper trap because you're really good at saying, I don't know, right? You do shrug or you carry your stress all the way up here, right? So here's the thing that I'm going to highlight is that your lower trap, your mid trap, and the upper trap, and I'm going to show all this, is that it's all attached to your neck. So we need those muscles to stabilize our shoulders, to bring that back, to give space for my neck to be able for that stuff to move. Okay, so here we go. Mid and lower trap. Everything is attached as a giant. So just to know that in the human body, things aren't that easily segmented the way that these are, right? So whenever if you were to look at that in a cadaver, it just looks like one giant sheath of muscle, which it technically kind of is, but they have different nerve endings. The pec minor, which is really important, attaches right here to the front of the shoulder. So if that pulls forward, now my neck is running out of space to push back. And so now it's almost left with no choice but to pull forward just because this small muscle is pulling my shoulder forward. Levator scapula, that is something I'm going to help you treat as well, but you can see it attaches to the corner of the shoulder blade, goes all the way up to your neck. So if you do this a lot of times of saying, oh, my neck hurts, and you do this immediately, a lot of times that is going to be your levator, and that's the nasty muscle that gets most of my clients. Then you have this big, the SCM is what we call it at the clinic, and that attaches right here, and that helps with a lot of lateral motion right there. The scalenes is another tiny muscle that attaches to the first rib, and then you get these suboccipital muscles right there. Okay, so now we'll go through the causes of neck pain. Okay, so reduced movement, poor biomechanics, poor posture, the upper cross, trauma, impact, instability, and internal rotation of the shoulders. Because if you do a lot of this movement and you don't have a lot of external movement, then what that's going to end up happening is, again, the shoulder blades are involved. They're going to cause you to internally rotate to move inward. And then again, the neck will run out of space to actually move. And so we're going to get stuck in that position and cause disc issues, vertebrae issues, so forth and so on. Chiropractor, my friend Matt Hall in Houston went to go chiropractor because he thought he would go get an adjustment, and he did, and then ended up going numb in his left hand and right leg. So you have to be really, really careful. I know that there are good chiropractors out there. I just don't trust them. Just because every time at the PT clinic, people came in, they're like, I went to go get an adjustment, and now I got weird tingly sensations, or I lost sensation in my foot, all kinds of stuff. So if you're going to a chiro, that's great. Take care of yourself, but I'm just saying be very, very careful with that. The other deal, watching TikTok or Instagram. If you're like, oh, this is a pain solution, let me go, attempt this. Yeah, be really careful with that because it may work for them, doesn't mean it will work for you. And they may not be a PT, they may not be a doctor, they may not be an osteo person of some sort. So anywhere, be very aware of that. And then if we also do pain solutions, you're like, I attempted this stretch and now I'm just kind of stuck in this position. Yeah, so be really careful with that too. Okay, so let's get to this part where I'm sure this is why everybody comes, other than the free lunch. We're actually going to get into the bulletproofing of your neck. Now, my protocol, and this goes for you guys, this goes for all of my clients, and this is what we use at the PT clinic. Step 1 is that you break up the tissue. Step 2 is that you activate the tissue. And it technically comes down to being that simple, but we just have to know what we need to break up and then what we actually need to activate. Okay, so There are way more than 10 people here than I expected. So the first 10 people get towel rolls, which are everything that is lying right there. So if you want a towel roll, those are yours to keep. If you're wondering, like, Steve, I don't know where those towels came from, were those used before you wrapped those in KT tape? Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say yeah. Yeah, they were used. They were. I'm just going to do it. There are leftover towels that we don't use at the clinic, down at the gym. There were spares, so I took them and I wrapped them in KT tape, and that's what we are going to use. Now I will call on 3 volunteers because we're going to go through this and we're going to fix the neck stuff. So if anybody currently actually has neck pain. Okay, 2. Okay, so you're the first 2. 3. Sorry, Julie, you're slow. Yeah, I'll see you tonight. So
one thing you said. It's all good.
Okay, so I am actually going to address 3 different areas of how to get rid of this neck pain. So you're going to be the easiest, so I'm going to start with you. What was your name?
Danielle.
Danielle. All right, everybody, give it up for Danielle. All right, Danielle, prepare thyself.
Okay.
Okay.
Prepared.
Danielle, I'm going to have you come over here. I'm going to use this high technical tool called the door. And whenever you guys do some of this stuff, do make sure it's against a door or like a supported wall, not drywall. I have learned the hard way. That's why I'm saying that. So what's going to happen is, because I know that the levator attaches right at the corner of that shoulder blade and he runs up to the neck, I am going to place this ball. I'm going to help Danielle kind of get into that position, and then I want you to watch her face. If this goes the way that I think it will go, watch her face.
I'm not very reactionary.
Well, we'll see about that.
Turn on, I'm got TikTok.
Don't TikTok me no more.
Okay, so what's going to happen is I'm going to place this shoulder right about here. Okay, and I want you to lean. So just careful. Yeah, go back a little bit. Okay, there we go. Bring your feet out just a little bit for me. Good. All right, now I want you to bring this gently across your body. Just right there. Okay, yep, and then take this one and hold your elbow. And then just gently pull that shoulder blade down around the area, okay? And then now I want you to imagine the corner of the shoulder blade, and I want you to just kind of move across the top of the shoulder blade with the ball. With the body will rock just gently across that. Okay. Is it this shoulder that hurt, or was it
There's the other one.
Oh,
I can feel this for sure.
Yeah, no, we're gonna do the other one. All right, so that's out. Okay, there we go. Good. Okay, and so it should be roughly about that area. Okay, so do it the other way, across the body. Okay, and then bring this one, yep, and pull, and then move across, and then find that tight spot. Okay, I'm putting it where it's roughly gonna be at. Let's see what happens. We're waiting.
Ball's moving up. This is like where it's at for sure.
Okay.
I can feel it.
Okay.
I told
You're
you.
really not expressive.
No.
Fascinating. I see.
And I have a very high pain tolerance, so.
Oh wow. Okay, so I want you to find the really tight spot. Okay, and then you can adjust how much pressure you want to place as you lean against it. Okay, so I want you to go up and down that shoulder blade, and then I want you to go across the top of the shoulder blade. Okay.
Can I go on my tiptoes like that?
Yeah, you sure can. So what she's doing essentially is that our muscle is encased in fascia, so you need to think of that as like a sandwich bag around our muscle. That fascia will get stuck to our muscle fibers, okay? And then what ends up happening is that our muscle fibers should slide like this. But what ends up happening is sometimes the fascia will stick to it, and now our muscles can't glide. The other part is just repeated use, is adhesions. There could be, from anything from the repeated use or just continually moving our head toward our monitors or what have you. So what she's doing right now is she's breaking that up, and then from what I saw when I was placing that ball, just as we were seeing with the skeletal profile, is that she does have a little bit of that kyphotic curve. So that means her thoracic spine and her rib cage is collapsed in, right? And we need to get thoracic extension to push and bring everything out to get open, right? Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to use this Mobo. Okay. Yep, we're done right there. How's that feel?
Good.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take this Mobo, or my blue stabby stick, and we're going to go right here in that pec minor. Okay, so I want you to go against this door again. Okay, I'm going to do it on this side so you can see. Okay, I'm going to place it in that area in this stance, and then I'm just going to gently, with my thumb up, and I'm just going to break that. Just like that. Okay. Now, for you guys, I'm going to go ahead and get you started with, if each one of you can just grab a towel, okay? And I'm going to show everybody how to do this at home. Now, if you want, if you have an old kitchen towel, you can bring it to the gym and I'll wrap the towel for you. Danielle, if you want to do it on the door, so I was doing it on that side just because there was space. Yep, there you go. Got it. Okay, and then just count down from like do 15 of those. Okay. All right, so now if you guys will come up, what's your guys' names?
Devore.
Devore and Brittany? Okay, give it up for Devore and Brittany, everybody. Yes. Fantastic. Devore, because you're here first, okay, what I'm going to have you do is I'm actually going to have you go and turn around and face the monitor. So whenever we do these towels, and then Brittany, it's going to be the same thing. I'm just using him as an example, okay? So whenever you use these towels, it's going to go in 3 spots. Okay, we want to start about an inch below his shoulder blade, so his shoulder blades are located right about here. Okay, and Danielle, you can go ahead and rest and stomp. Yep, there you go. Okay, and you can put the Mobo right there, okay? And then just stand right there because I'm pretty soon, actually go and take a seat because it's going to take a little bit. So just go around. So it's going to start about an inch below the shoulder blades. And then it goes an inch to where it's going to touch the bottom portion of the shoulder blades, and then it's going to go right in the middle of the shoulder blades. And the best part about this is that you just lie down, and that's all that's going to happen, okay? So, Devore, you're going to find some space, maybe right around there.
Okay.
You're going to do the same thing. I'm going to move this chair.
Laying down on the floor?
Yep, laying down on the floor, so you can lay down this way if you want, and then Brittany, if you want to lay down this way, or if you don't want to lay down, I don't.
I'm good this way.
Okay, there we go. Good. Okay, so I want you to find, so for ladies, it's a little bit easier because usually it's about bra strap line. Okay, and so when you lie down there, okay, so we're going to go ahead and lie down, keep your knees up, and then what I want you to do, knees up before. There you go, just like that. Okay, go ahead and rest your head gently there, and then smash your back into the ground. Okay, and then tell me, is that comfortable or uncomfortable?
I mean, it kind of feels good.
It's semi-comfortable though.
Yeah, so right, and then last thing what I'd like you to do is now you're going to go fold it into goalpost. So you're going to flip your hands so your palms are rotated up and get the back of the hands to the ground. Ooh, yeah. So I wish you guys could see this, but Devore is struggling. So the thing is that, yeah, if you guys want to stand and see this.
Want to see Devore struggle? Pictures?
Yeah, if you want to take a picture and put this on the company calendar, that would be great. Okay, so ideally when you do this, you want to do this for about a minute per location. Now the thing with Devore, what's happening right here, Brittany's actually okay, that's actually really good. But the thing what's happening with Devore is that it's missing what's called external rotation, so his hands are unable to actually hit the ground. Struggle bus over there. So his wrists are having to break in order to meet the ground. The other portion to it, yeah, laughing ain't gonna help, bro. Yeah, the other portion to it is that you can see how much his rib cage is struggling to meet that demand to rest down on the ground. Okay, so what I'm gonna do with you guys, I'm actually gonna skip right over to the pistol stretch. Normally there are 3 positions, but we don't have time for that, so we're just gonna go right into the pistol. Okay, so Brittany, what I'm going to do, Devore, you just stay there and I'm going to help you out. So what I'd like you to do is you're going to gently roll over to Devore. Please step on you. So roll your entire body over to that side. There you go. Hold right there. Good. So shoulder blade. Okay, go ahead and come on down. Okay, now, what I'd like you to do is I want you to make a gun over your chest. Good. Now your head, hands, and knees. Okay, now what I want you to do is you're going to rock. Have your head follow your hands. Okay, and you're going to do these little mini rocks for me. Just like that. Okay, and then count down from 20. Okay, and then you're gonna do 20%. All right, Devore, bro, you're gonna need to come see me, man. Okay, so now what I'm gonna have you do, I'm gonna have you just gently roll over to the wall. Okay, hold that position there. Okay, and then I'm gonna place this towel right about here. Okay, go ahead and roll it back down. Okay, now you're gonna do what Brittany's doing. You're gonna finger, okay, make a gun. Your eyes are gonna stay here, and I want you to roll. I want you to rock on top of this. Everything rock, little mini rocks, and I want you to stay on top of the towel. Okay, and that should feel pretty good. And now you can adjust your body if you know if there's a different tension or if it's on the other spot. So what we're doing here is that because the muscles that align alongside the shoulder blade, what's happening there is that those muscles aren't allowing us to actually do any scapular retraction. So we need the retraction portion to happen, right? So because if I can pull my shoulder blades back and down, that allows my head to come back. Right, so really our neck is just supported by a whole bunch of other supporting systems, and that's what's really important. So what I'm going to have here pretty soon is I'm going to have Brittany, Danielle, and Devore all now go into the activation phase, and this is going to be what the real tricky part is, especially for most of you, because this is what my clients like to call the quote-unquote invisible muscles. Okay? And then you guys are going to be able to test this. Maybe we can use it as a team building event maybe one time. All right, guys, go ahead. Thank you so much. So go ahead. Let's go ahead and stand up. And you can just watch your head. Okay. All right. So Danielle, if you don't mind, hold on, guys. Go ahead. Just stand. I'm going to have you stand here. Danielle, go ahead and stand here. So this is what's called. I don't make up these names. They're called no monies. Okay. So I'm going to have all three of you. So you're just going to put palms up. Palms up. There you go. You can put the towels down. There we go. So now I want you to watch my hands when I do this. I'm going to demonstrate it, so watch my hands, okay? That's my shoulder blades squeezing. I'm not using my arms to pull my shoulder blades back, okay? I'm not rotating here, and I'm not pulling my elbows off of my rib cage. I'm pushing my elbows to the ground, and then I'm squeezing my shoulder blades. Okay? So now what I'd like you to do, just so that way I can have all of them see as well, is that I want you guys to, I want one person here, one person here, one person here, and I want you guys to turn around and face the screen, because what's going to happen is I'm going to cue you and how this is going to work, okay? And so, yep, palms up, drive elbows down to the ground, okay? And I want you to just destroy my fingertips. I mean, send me to the emergency room.
Yeah, right.
Just, we want a medical emergency to happen here, okay? So I want you to keep them down. Oh, go get a massage, bro. Squeeze your shoulder blades.
More
here.
high strung.
Well, squeeze them. I mean, yeah. I mean, come on. Yeah, see? Okay, one squeeze, and then I'm going to go check Danielle. So what I'm testing for up here is that most of you, because you carry your stress all the way up here, your muscles will activate up here to pull back, right? And that's not what you want. Not right now, at least. Hold on, Daniel. Nope, I'm coming to check on you.
I'm just giving you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, same deal. I want you to squeeze fingers down here. Oh, that's not too bad. But you need a massage too. Wow.
It's like they work us to the bone here.
So technically not bad, but take your arms out of the movement. Still using your arms.
I don't feel like I am.
I think we
There you
should
go.
make
Yeah.
that into a lunch and learn.
Right.
Massage therapy.
All right, guys, go ahead and give it up for our volunteers. There we go. All right, guys, so that's essentially all it comes down to. Everything that I just talked about, for the most part, especially the anatomy, you don't really necessarily need to know, other maybe than the levator and the mid and lower trap. Those are probably the only things that you need to know. The other part is how to actually treat yourself. So the first deal is you break up tissue, so you use that towel roll. So just like what Brittany and DeVore did, is that you lay on the towel in those 3 spots for 1 minute. Okay, and then if these Mobos, you come down to the gym or I'll order you one. The other way is that you can use a lacrosse ball up against a doorpost or a corner, and you do the same thing like what Danielle was doing. Okay, and then you can do that. And then you just break up the tissue, lay on that, you do that little pistol stretch on the towel, or you put the ball on that sore spot, and you break up the tissue, and then you pull the shoulder blades down, because that turns off the signal. Now we're turning on the signal to get those shoulder blades down and back, so you can allow the neck to come back. Now the very last thing I'm going to say is something called a distraction. Technically what you can do, so a lot of you may pop your neck and it's almost like you're like killing yourself. I don't understand that part, it's really weird, but you know, you see people do that all the time. Not really great, because what that's going to do is a lot of hypermobility. That creates a lot of hypermobility within already very small vertebrae, and then that over time will make them unstable, and then that leads to more nerve issues. So we want to stay away from that as much as possible. So the distraction part, so your thumbs will gently go underneath the jaw, you'll cradle your skull underneath here, okay? And then, with just relaxed, I'm just going to pull gently up. Okay? Some of you might get a pop. Oh, I do not get a pop. I never get a pop. Okay? And that's what you're going to do. Now, if you have a hard time even rotating this way, then that's more shoulder issues. And then again, you're going to have to come see me and I'm going to figure that out. Okay? And then that's probably the best way to do it. The last way that I'll mention is that this is called a peanut, right? And I have another one here. So some of you guys might even have this at home. So what that will do is that you want that to sit in the suboccipital area, or the right underneath the base of the skull. Okay, that's position 1, and then position 2 you want to do right above the shoulder blades here. Okay, and then that is going to help with breaking up the or making the vertebrae a little bit more mobile for you, so that your neck will have a little bit more freedom to move about the cabin. That is all I have to say for that today. Questions, comments, and concerns? Oh, thanks. Comments, questions?
Wow, definitely need a massage.
You do. Yes, you do. Yeah.
I never had one, you know, like in my whole life.
Massage?
So.
Oh my God.
TikTok, get on it.
Well, somebody get a brother a gift card. To Kevin, does he win like a gift card or
You gotta go
something?
to town.
And I am not presenting 10 times, so that's all right, team. Well, thank you so much for coming. Really appreciate it. If you have any questions, we're downstairs at N-Word, and I'll be more than happy to help out when I can. All right, guys.
Thank
Have a
you.
good,
Thank you.